We've got a great PR who's going to be talking about some PR fails. If we could have a big round of applause for Catherine, please, everybody.
Hello, hello. I'm the token weirdo talking about something different. I'm Catherine. I'm going to take you through some of my all-time favourite PR fails and what we can learn from them. I'm going to bribe you to say nice things about my talk on Twitter by giving you free Lego. So get tweeting now. This is me. It is me. I've just gone back to my natural colour. I've had to start wearing glasses. I've got a bit older. But I promise it is me. I'm not an imposter. So I head up Oxford-based travel and tourism PR agency, Seriously PR. We're also experts in getting more attention from your customers. So on the note of Lego, I'm going to take you through my first and most favourite PR fail and what we can learn from it. I don't know if you've seen these. I've got one here, which I'm going to give away to the person who says something most complimentary on Twitter about this talk. This is a Lego Mixel. This one in particular is called Turg. He was launched back in 2012. But what did the bio say about Turg back in 2012? Why was this a fail? He was called the Lego Mixel Window Licker. So you can understand why people were a bit upset. His bio described him as an experiment gone very, very wrong. Part chicken, part frog, part back of the bus window licker. So, what's the first lesson? Once the shit hits the fan, you can't get rid of bad PR. It is very, very difficult to get rid of bad PR online. Why is that? Well, it's down to the fact that bad news sells far more quickly than good. And it also, for anyone who says there's no such thing as bad PR, and it's a very expensive exercise to recall billions of little turds from around the world to change his bio to something more sensible. So some do's and don'ts. Don't expect to replace bad PR with good, like I say. Don't forget to sanity check ideas 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Who was it who said, I know what we'll call him? And how did that get out the door? So sanity check all those ideas before they go anywhere. Don't ignore the situation and hope it will go away. You'll just infuriate people even more. Speak to the people that were upset in particular. I would imagine some industry groups and bodies were particularly annoyed about this one. Don't leave historical references. So this is the time to do a massive housekeeping exercise online across your website, your marketing materials, your social channels, all those reseller sites, Toys R Us, Argos. You're fixing the problem, but then you forget that that little turg is still called the window licker on the Argos website. So make sure you get rid of every single reference that's caused the negative PR in the first place. But don't let it stop creativity. Don't let it stop those people coming up with great ideas. Just go back to point 2 before anything goes out the door and sanity check those really creative ideas. Do prepare a statement. When something goes wrong in terms of PR, you've got to have a statement ready. It's got to be a simple, clear message that everybody sticks to, with one key spokesperson leading the charge. So have a statement prepared. What are you doing? Say sorry, be honest, be apologetic, and hold up your hands and say you got it wrong. And contact the media. Proactively contact the press who are writing about this fail. In this case, it was people like the BBC, Mail Online, Guardian. So contact them proactively. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them how you're going to fix it. Involve the media. Take the media to the Lego factory. Take them to HQ. Show them where the magic happens. Get them on side. Even though you can't remove that negative publicity, you can go some way to have public apologies and fixes published if you've got good relations with the media. Monitor search results, so you make sure if the negativity is continuing to spiral, that you're on top of it. If more media sources are publishing content, that you're getting in touch with them and you're, like I said, you're telling them what you're going to do. Engage customers. In this case, it was more than likely adult customers that were offended, not kids. Kids don't care. So speak to those people, speak to influencers, speak to bloggers, speak to members of the public, go direct, answer questions on social media, tell people what you're doing, and involve them in the loop. If it all goes wrong, you can't do anything about it, blame him. stick him in front of the video camera and get him to apologise. People are going to be far less cross with a little combination of yellow blocks than they are with your management team. So if it all goes horribly wrong, then stick the toy in front of the camera and get them to do something about it instead. So that's Lego. Next fail, Waitrose. A lot of you will remember this one from last year. I shop at Waitrose because this was their genius crowdsourced social media campaign. Now you can just imagine the management team sitting around the table and saying, I know, let's ask people why they shop at Waitrose. They'll say things like, oh, their fish counter is superior. Their checkout staff are just so lovely. But they didn't. They said, I shop at Waitrose because I don't want to be surrounded by poor people. They said, I shop at Waitrose because Clarissa's pony simply won't eat Asda value straw. So they had a bit of a crap storm on their hands. The lesson here, you can't moderate social media engagement. If you're going to open yourself up to a Boaty McBoatface situation, then you've got to be prepared to deal with the consequences of that. You've got to think it through. As soon as you start trying to quash people's instant, honest reactions, you make the situation 10 times worse. So some do's and don'ts. Don't remove a campaign. You're just going to make people cross. And actually, are you getting more customers through the door because of the negative that's come out of this fail? So just be mindful that sometimes there is a positive out of a negative. Don't skip a work through of predicted outcomes. Like I said, when they sat down and said, what are people going to end this sentence with? Is it going to be what you want? Don't underestimate the size of the resource team needed. Brands like the John Lewis Partnership need huge social media teams, full stop. When something goes horribly wrong like this, you need twice as many people to manage the situation. So don't underestimate these days how big your social media team needs to be. Don't just be a corporate brand. The big brands who succeed on social media are the ones that put their names at the end of the tweets. As soon as you have a name, the way people engage with you totally changes. Don't be rude to customers. Who remembers the Protein World scandal over the Beachbody campaign? People were furious. People were tweeting in their millions saying, how can you behave like this? And they said, well, we don't care. If you feel like that, Protein World's not for you. Sod off. So obviously that made things even worse. Do understand the audience. Were these Waitrose customers poking fun at themselves, or were they Tesco customers laughing at Waitrose customers? You've got to know who your audience are on social. Are they your customers, or are they wider grocery consumers in this case? If you know exactly who you're talking to, you can pitch your content far more correctly. Do have planned content calendar and objectives. Did anyone think about what they wanted out of this? What content did they want to create? I think they would have had far more success and far more widespread PR and interaction and less of a crap storm if they'd shared the most interesting queries submitted to the social media team by Waitrose customers. I think it would have given far better insight into how people shop. And then they could have embraced the humour, maximise that exposure. So that really just adds on to point 2. If you're going to do a crowdsource or any social media campaign, what do you want out of it in terms of PR coverage on or offline, in terms of marketing materials for future, in terms of market research, in terms of video content, blog material, newsletter material? Don't do anything in isolation of your wider marketing and PR strategy. Showcase your social team, which leads back to not being a corporate brand. Again, if they'd got one of the senior management team doing a Twitter takeover for the day or something, they would have got far more publicity off the back of this. Go back to the floor. Join them if you can't beat them. Laugh at yourselves. Be honest. Don't leave questions unanswered on Twitter. Embrace the fun of it and let the campaign take a more positive, wider reach and carry on. So that's Waitrose. I love this one. This was way back in 1992. Hoover basically said, if you buy £100 vacuum cleaner or washing machine, We'll give you 2 free return flights to the USA for 100 quid. So people went and bought Hoover, and a washing machine, and another Hoover, and another Hoover to get these free flights. This cost Hoover $48 million. Their entire management team had to resign. It took 6 years to clear up the mess. There were small claims court hearings going up and down the country. One guy abducted a Hoover repair van when the chap came to fix his washing machine and held it to ransom to get his flights. They just did not think this through at all. So what's the lesson? You can't buy brand loyalty. You can't run a competition and expect people to become loyal brand ambassadors and buy your product for years to come. These people were never going to become Hoover fanatics. They weren't interested in the Hoover. It was probably on eBay a week later. It's in the back of the cupboard. All they wanted was the flights. They didn't gain anything out of offering this incentive to people. So some do's and don'ts. Don't be lured by voucher deals. This is the equivalent of a modern day Groupon offer gone totally wrong. These kind of things put people out of business. $48 million for some bright spark who said, how are we going to shift those 300,000 Hoovers out of the warehouse that are collecting dust? Don't leave people unanswered, like I mentioned before. There was a pressure group formed of 8,000 to 10,000 people, and Hoover said nothing. So it just gained more and more momentum. People got more and more cross. Don't dismiss transparency. Hold your hands up. Say what went wrong. Say what you're going to do about it. Have a clear action plan in place to fix it. And don't forget about data capture. The primary reason for incentivizing someone to do something is to get their data so you can do something useful with it, so you can remarket to them, that you can convert them to interested, engaged customers. Don't ignore wider content opportunities. Again, this was a competition designed to shift stock. That was it. They didn't think about how they could use that to their advantage to generate wider awareness. Do something with, this was 92, but today, do something with online influencers, talk to them about the product, get them to do something exciting, figure out how many Hoovers it would take to power that plane to the USA. Would it be more or less Hoovers than Dyson? Can you do something interesting? Just think about the wider content opportunities and be really creative. Do reduce the prize numbers and increase the value of the winners. So don't give away tens of thousands of prizes, give away 5, but give them away to really deserving, interesting people, because you get far more exposure and publicity off the back of doing a small amount of things with the right type of people. Do have a crisis plan when things go wrong. Back to my earlier point about preparing a statement. What happens if the numbers don't add up? Who's in charge? Who's responsible for being the spokesperson, speaking to the press, speaking to the public, that kind of thing? And again, maintain media relations. This just spiraled because they didn't speak to anyone. So make sure you are in constant touch with the media, even when you don't need them. Subscribe to alert services like Response Source, for example. We're in the travel sector, we use things like Trav Media. There are lots of good ones. So make sure you're always on the receiving end of the content that the press wants, so you know what's being said about your brand and you know the type of topics they're talking about. Be creative, like I said, come up with some more imaginative ways of positioning a PR campaign other than just a competition. Doesn't gain you that much standout apart from having someone abduct your Hoover repair vans. So final point there, work through the numbers. If they don't add up, don't do it. There's far better ways of incentivizing people and getting press coverage than competitions. Next fail, Bic and pink pens for the girls. Apparently, I need a pink biro for my soft, delicate, feminine hands in order to be a success in life. I was disturbed, though, when I looked on Amazon to see the product listed that they come in a very manly box of 12. And I'm not quite sure how I would possibly cope with that many pens all in one go. This was from Innocent's Facebook. This year, International Women's Day, Bic thought it'd be a really good idea to send out pink pens to lots of influential brands. In 2016, A brand thinks that you can send pink pens out for the girls. So the lesson here, don't segment the market by gender unnecessarily. Never going to be good PR. Do's and don'ts. Don't be an idiot. I actually did try. I did try and add 4 other things to that list, but I think that's it. Don't be an idiot. Do use video. We get it now. We understand the power of video. It's more influential, more visible, more accessible, more shareable than any other form of media. So get the management team who said, I know, pink pens for the girls. Get them back round the table on video, admitting why they got it so wrong. Share video content, reach as many people as you possibly can with a public, honest apology. Use reviews as PR. There are some absolutely hysterical reviews on Amazon of pink pens for girls. I insist that you read some of them. How many of them were written by BIC when they sacked their previous PR agency and got a new one in to clear up the mess? I'm not sure, but they are a great form of PR, whether it's TripAdvisor, whether it's Amazon, whether it's eBay. Use reviews as an opportunity to share positive PR. Embrace the fail. What good things are there in this world that are pink? Candy floss, My Little Ponies, baby piglets, definitely not pink pens. So stand up and say what's great in life that's pink and what's crap. BIC, this is on the list. And embrace the fail and add a bit of humour into the equation. Conduct market research. Did they go out to women and they said, we want a pink pen? I bloody doubt it. So do your market research, do it properly, find out what people do want. And plan out next steps. Where do you go from here when your pink pen has dive bombed? Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's me. But plan out next steps. How do you come back from that? How do you launch a product straight after that is really inventive, well received, regardless of gender? Final fail. Second supermarket in the roundup. This was a year or so ago. Asda launched a survey called Top 50 Signs of Being a Mother. I'm a mother. Apparently, I only ever wear comfy shoes. Apparently, I'm always in bed by 9 p.m. So if you see me running away from the bar at 10 to 9, it's because I turn into a gibbering wreck at 9 o'clock because I've had kids. Lots of other things. This was the most pessimistic survey you've ever seen come out of a PR agency in your life. It was the most bottom wiping, snotty nose wiping, comfy shoe wearing load of rubbish you have ever seen. So lesson here, tell your audience something good about themselves, not something crap. I'm not in bed at 9 every night, maybe occasionally. Telling people something good about themselves is far more shareable than telling something crap about themselves. So focus on the positives, massage people's egos. So don't forget to test it. Go to your Asda mums and say, how would you feel if I told you that you don't say the F word anymore, you say fudge instead? I don't fudge and say fudge. Test it with the people that you're asking to engage with first. Don't forget the target media. Where did Asda want this to be published? Which publications do Asda mums read? Did they have that in mind when they put this survey together? I don't think they did. So don't forget who you're targeting. Where do you want that publicity? Do you want it on the Mail Online? Do you want it on BuzzFeed, Huffington Post? Design your content accordingly. Don't assume the agency is always right, because they're not. If your agency says, we're going to tell mums that they can recite every word to Frozen and they no longer know any other lyrics to any other songs that they used to know, is that a good thing to do? And you don't think so, then tell them to naff off. We're not always right. And don't use the content anyway. If you've paid your agency tens of thousands of pounds to come up with this amazing survey about parents and it's not working, scrap it and start again. Just get rid of it and do something different. Don't overlook where it fits in. Again, what was the purpose of collecting the survey data? What did they want to use it for? What was the ultimate goal? Links back to the website, engagement on social, whatever it might be. Don't overlook what you want people to do when this is published. Do start with the positives, like I said. Go in store. Don't do this in isolation of your customers. Go in store and ask mums what the most amazing thing about being a parent is. Give them badges saying they're an amazing parent. Get them to upload them to Instagram. Widen the reach. Create more content in exactly that context. Make sure that what you're doing isn't just some stuffy old survey that has a quarter little box like this in the Daily Mail or something, and that's it. Create as much content as you can. Get Asda mums on videos. Get people's kids on video saying what's amazing about their mum. There's nothing better seeing a cute kid saying why they love their mum. Get influencers on board early. Test this with bloggers. Test it with influencers. Incentivize them to champion your campaigns. But speak to them before your launch day. Speak to them well before you want this content out in the media. Do remember, mum is always right. In this case, mums were livid. Bloggers were livid. They published their own list. There's lots of good ones out there. As a brand, you've got to remember who your customer are and that every mum is different. And in this case, they just blanket every single one as not being able to cross the road without holding someone's hand, even if it was an adult, or not being able to pull something out of their handbag without baby wipes and dummies and snacks flying out. So remember, mum's always right and every parent is different. So that's my final fail. So some key takeaways. Understand the customer journey. As an agency, we plan absolutely everything around the customer journey. We call it the customer attention map. That helps you to make sure that you never miss a content opportunity. Have a targeted, methodical plan. Keep in touch with media. Plan out next steps. Maximize your reach. Keep it really simple. Simple PR campaigns are the ones that work the best. You don't need to send people to the States and back to get good PR. Have measured objectives. Make sure everything you're doing is tying into the overall goals and strategy and growth plans of the company. And finally, fess up if you F up, or fudge up, apparently I should say, because I'm a mum. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone, BrightonSEO.